Hey, good morning, YouTube. Another day on the Scout in the garage. Going to be starting on replacing or patching the inner fenders where the previous owner had cut holes in it. I'll get some pictures of it once we get into doing some more cutting. Probably won't get to that today, but we're going to start out with building the patch panels. I bought a 4x8 sheet of 14 gauge. Going a little heavier just because I like the workability of it. Picked this up at my local powder coat place. He does plasma cutting and laser etching and stuff, and his prices are better than our local steel shop, which tends to be kind of a pain in the butt anyways to deal with. So I bought a whole sheet. I'm going to rip it today into the pieces I need and then take it back to him and he'll break it at 90 degrees for me. Not going to get a lot done today. Going to build oversized patch panels just because if they do show up, you know, it kind of looks like you've patched something. I'm going to cut away a larger area and put them in. It'll give me a little more strength, and should look really good when I'm done. We'll see what happens. I haven't decided if I'm butt welding, overlapping. There's benefits to both. Maybe a combination of both. I don't know yet. So I'm going to try to cut this here in the shop, probably standing up, just because guess what? It's raining outside again. So yep, going to get after it. Okay, before I start cutting, we're going to address just a couple of things here. Sometimes I forget and I think everything I'm doing is just basic knowledge, but I know some of you guys are here to actually learn some stuff. So I use a cheap drywall square when I'm doing big plate. Works good. Obviously, you got to check it for accuracy. I don't trust it. I use it to draw my line, and then I measure from the edge. Obviously, if our outer cut originally wasn't accurate, it won't be accurate. But I check top and bottom to make sure they're the same. Another thing I do is, a lot of times, you know, with metal, accuracy isn't horribly important, right? We can weld gaps up, but trying to get this as close as I can. I take a new cutting disc and I put it there for my saw kerf, and then I turn around and measure from it to the edge, top and bottom, and that way I know how close I am. You may sometimes you start cutting, how much material you'll lose. So I do that. While we're at that, pick these up on eBay, SATC 4.5 inch by 0.04. These are awesome. Bang for the buck on these is amazing. I've been super happy. I've tried lots of different kinds, and honestly, I don't think you can do much better than these for the price. So, tip of the day. Also going to address something that I think I've addressed in videos before, but just throw a quick one out here. Close quarters, I'm doing a lot of welding and grinding, and those sparks will ruin glass. All the windows in this thing are going to get replaced at some point when I'm done. The previous owner had done some welding. There are some pock marks. Side windows have a lot of fogging, so I'm not horribly concerned. I watch a lot of guys building roll bars and stuff on YouTube, and I just cringe when they don't ever cover the glass, and all it takes is masking tape, cardboard, something just to slow that down so the little red hots can cool off before they get there. So I'm going to cut this. I don't think I'm going to video it. It's going to be horribly loud. I can edit it out, but you guys have all seen sheet metal cut before with a grinder. So get the first one of these cut out, and we'll mark and cut the second one. Okay, I think what I did is I decided I'm going to actually show you the second cut, just to give you an idea how quick it is. We may have to speed the cut up, but I will give you a time based on the video timestamp. I started with a new disc on the last cut, so brand new disc, and this is after one cut. So you can see I used about 1/4 inch to cut through 4 foot of 14 gauge. So we're going to start with a brand new disc, and that way I can show you when we're done. So this is my preferred grinder. It's a little Bosch, really lightweight for running the cutoff wheels. Super cheap. I went into the repair shop, the Milwaukee repair shop. They have this sitting on the shelf as a refurb. I paid like 20 bucks for it. And it is just a lightweight little animal. And here we go. That was it, guys. That video is 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Pretty quick cut. Resist the urge to plunge and cut. It does cut faster, but it really eats up these discs. I did some experimenting on the last time, and it's amazing how much the discs will last by just over the top of the surface. So there you go. We'll get these cleaned up with a sander and marked for the sheet metal brake. Quick tip for you guys. I got bit pretty bad here a couple weeks ago by reaching into my steel rack to grab a piece of steel that I'd put away who knows how long ago. Had a razor sharp edge on it. So one of the things I like to do normally, I don't know how I missed that one, is this 4x8 sheet or 4x4 sheet now that I'm gonna put away for later. I'm going to take my sander and I'm going to hit the cut edges and just dull them up a little bit before I put them away. Hopefully it'll save me from blood on another day. So I'm going to mark this for the steel guy to bend in his brake. And I want a really clear line, something that's not going to knock off, brush off between here and there. So I'm going to use my surface conditioner to make like a 4-inch swath through the middle. Then what I'll do is I'll hit it with a little primer and let it dry, and then I'll either come back with a fine point Sharpie or even an awl and scratch into the fresh primer, just so there's no mistakes, because I probably won't be there when this gets bent. Well, I got a little ahead of myself. I was going to video the second one, but I went ahead and shot some spray paint, used my square and just scratched the line in there so we can bend it. I wished I had a sheet metal brake here, but I don't, so I'll run those down to the fab shop next week and get them ready to go in. Hey, good morning, YouTube. This should be day 2 of the inner fender build. Don't have a lot of high hopes of what we got to get done today. I'm not sure, really. We're going to try to get through the rusty areas and just see. I haven't decided if we're overlapping, butt lapping, or underlapping, if we want to call it. So I'm going to just start cutting some stuff out, material out. We got the inside of the bed cleaned out on the Scout. I did pick up some Seymour weld through primer for when we start going back together. We'll probably talk about that more. Got it on Amazon because I can't get it around here. But let's just hit it, see what we can get done today. All right, there's one of our inner fenders bent. There's one of them sitting in there. As you can see, they're not full length. I went with 48 inches. Just like I said, we only have a small area we need to do, but I don't want to. I won't want it to look patchy, so I figured I'd go with a bigger. And it's heavier iron. I went with 14 gauge. So. Alright, so what I did is I marked an inch from this edge down. The actual back of the Scout's tilted forward a little, so this is probably not 90 degrees to the inner fender, but it does give us a nice eyesight line. If we do decide to butt weld that or lap weld it, it's not going to look wonky by having this wider than the other. And then on the inside, I'm going to take and I'm going to use 3/4 angle iron, and I'm going to lay it in there and use it as a straight edge, and that should give me a nice straight line regardless of what this inner panel looks like. We should get a nice straight line. Again, just shooting for some visual stuff there. I'm not sure how much it's going to matter at this point, but I'm going to at least try. So that gives us a straight line for our cut. I'll measure that out, mark the cross lines. So I'm going to jump in here, guys, and I did draw my line using my straight edge of angle iron, but I decided to cut a notch to get my clamp in there. That way I'm not free-handed it. I can just butt my zip wheel up against the edge of that and run down the length of it. So just one more way to keep it sanitary. I got 90% of that inner fender cut out. I got some double layer here. I want to save the inner lip, so I cut that at an angle. Still need to get this where the inner fender overlaps about 2 inches down the tub. I want to save the inner piece, so we're going to get that off of there. I'll have to pull this exhaust, probably pull the tire so I can get in there, but it's looking pretty good. So we're going to try to use my air hammer with a big paddle. I'm going to try to go down along the side and just open that up. It's got a pretty good swell of rust behind it, so I'm thinking we can get in there, but I don't want to damage the inner panel. So we're going to try this and just see what happens. Alright, decisions have been made. There's some bulging along here. The rust that had gotten down in between the two panels had also started to creep underneath the bed. All these other rails look pretty good. This one's got bulging. I can see all the spot welds. So I think what I'm going to do is drill all the spot welds out. Just pry that up enough to knock the rust out and get in there and treat it with either OSPO or something similar. And then we'll bring it all back down and weld it back. She's made her 50 years. We're going to try to give her another 50. Alright, we just got the tire off. Got most of that popped away from there. I need to sit there and do some grinding and cleaning, but there's still plenty of material there. We'll get her cleaned up. Okay, so this is a spot weld drill. It's like a mini hole saw. You can remove these and flip them over and use them twice. I'm not a huge fan, but for the circumstances, I don't want big holes drilled through here. Normally, if I was saving one panel, I'd probably just use a drill bit. But if you're trying to save an inner panel or you want to put something back on, they do work. I've ruined a couple of them. They're cheap in build and cheap. You can buy a box of them there on, eBay. I think the trick is a good center punch. Getting a good center punch mark so this thing doesn't try to walk all over the place. I'm going to try to capture here, drilling a hole, and just see if you can see it work. It's satisfying when they pop up like that. just run down the length of this. It should allow me to lift that up enough to clean under it, and then we'll fill all those back in with wire feed. All right, folks. Normally I would wait till I'm completely prepped both sides and before I prep the steel with some OSFO, but I don't want to take all the structure out of this on the other side before I do this. So I've got the pan lifted up, and I'm going to OSFO this frame rail, or it's not a frame rail, it's the body rail. I've cleaned it up with a sander and a grinder, and I mean, other than cutting it completely out and going crazy, this is where we're going to stop on this. There's still plenty of metal there. Yes, it's pitted, it's ugly. It's going to get a layer of fender over it. I will put weld through primer between those layers. So honestly, it should last my lifetime. If not, be someone else's problem. So I got one of my inner fenders ready to go in. I still have some welding to do on the inside fender, but I'm going to get some weld through primer on here first. I'm going to try it out here. It's pretty bad. Let's see what it does. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off so I don't cover it in paint. Alright, we got our inner fender tacked in place. Floor's back down and re-welded through all the spot weld drills. Again, bed liner's going to hide any of those sins. I got it tacked on the edges. I have a piece of flat material in here. This is L-shaped, so we're sitting on it, but I don't want it lifting. So I got my C-clamp slid off and flipped over. It's a little bit hokey, but it's just putting some down pressure on it. I'm going to go underneath and tack everything. Try to do the majority of the welding inside the fenders, and then all of these seams will get seam sealer on them before it's all said and done. So yeah, well, I think we're gonna wrap this up. Actually went pretty good, all things considered. This right fender is about 90% welded in. I'm gonna do some overhead inside the fender well, and I'm just about had it for the day. I did not get the other side cut out. I wanted to make sure this one was all structural before I took that one out, so it's going to be another whole day, I'm sure. So probably won't video that. You guys don't need to see freaking the same thing over and over again. It's going to get bed lined, so that should hide some of the ugly that's going on there. I mean, again, I'm not building a show vehicle, I'm building a runner. But get down here. It looks pretty good. I guess I'm even being hard on myself. Just got to weld up above. It's all lap welded. I do not like the weld through primer. It causes a lot of heartache. But so this is what I cut out of that one left or right fender well where it overlapped about a 2-inch area. It was sandwiched together, and you could see where the rust was in between the sandwiched area. But this is California Scout its whole life, so that's the closest thing you're going to get to a rust-free Scout in the wild. Just no way around it. So I guess you got to be careful when you find them. Even when they look super duper good, you can still find rust here and there. So hi folks, thanks to the power of television, I'm shooting this final scene for the inner fenders. I started editing my footage together and realized I didn't do a closing on this, so we're going to just show you the final product here. Really happy with how it turned out, and closed up a bunch of holes, took care of some rust, got it done on both sides. Yeah, looks great. Have actually done a couple of other projects since then, so I will be working on editing a couple more videos and getting them out. Life's just been busy. You guys will enjoy the next one. I had a little bit of carnage, but so yeah, thank you for watching. Thanks for those of you that are commenting and sharing and liking, and just appreciate you being here with me. God bless and have a great week.